Well, hello everybody, hope you're having a great start to your day. It's early morning here in Calgary, Canada, and as you can probably see, it's a little bit frosty, although the sun is coming out. It is a beautiful day. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about today was the idea of staying fit and healthy and ultimately strong enough so that when the backpacking season comes round, you're ready for it, and it's not a huge, maybe a pun here, but a lift to get that backpack on and get on out on the trails. Now, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know I'm no backpacking expert. I'm pretty new to this whole deal myself. This coming season will be my third, but even in that short period of time, I've learned a thing or two about what to expect, what my body, the physical strength that I have, or let's be fair, don't quite have, what those limits put on my ability to do certain things in my backpacking adventures. And one of the ones that I noticed the first year was pretty straightforward. I was not physically strong. Prior to getting into backpacking, I was doing long distance ultra events, 50 or 100 kilometers. So I was very thin, very skinny. My body was trained to a different type of need. Not that you have to be skinny to be an ultra runner, but I was. So anyway, when I got into backpacking and finding out I had to lift a backpack that was about 40 pounds, because again, I'm not into ultra light backpacking. It's very expensive to do that, and in that first year I had no idea if I would like backpacking, so I just kind of made do with what I had, and it was probably easily 40 pounds. Now, so that year what I did prior to going out was just filled up the bag, wore it, and went out for a walk from time to time to try and get used to it. Physically it was quite demanding on me, but like everything, you get used to it. Year 2 rolled around and I love this is great. So I invested in a few things that were a little bit more lightweight, but ironically, I ended up then investing in a few things that weren't for one reason or another, and my bag weight ended up being about the same anyway, but I was a bit more used to it, put in a bit more effort. Now, this season, year 3, my backpack's still going to be about 40 pounds. I've not made any changes to it. But what I did notice, or started to think about, was I didn't really want to have to kind of go from 0 to 100. As in, come the backpacking season, just throw on the bag and start going, oh, it's heavy, and just power through it. So I had a thought. What if throughout the off-season, which in Canada can be quite long, or at least for me, I go backpacking in July and August. And so I got the rest of the year where I'm not day to day wearing anything like that kind of weight on my body. And in the winter particularly, where the snow can be quite deep, and just in the walking around the streets, you've got ice everywhere, getting outside can be more of a challenge. You can always do it, but we don't always want to. So I looked online and I found a little, think of it as a hack, whereby I went, what if I take my bag weight, half it, so in my case 20 pounds, and then I can just wear this weight day to day. So, give you a little sneak peek. I put on one of these things. It's a weighted vest. Now, hard to tell I suppose, but you can barely even tell I'm wearing it. And so whereas the backpack, I could have just got my backpack and filled it with X amount of weight, say 20 pounds, and just worn it. I work from home most of the time. And so wearing that is not the most ideal solution when I'm wandering around my home, but it is one. This I've found, it's much more compact. After wearing it for a few weeks, I kind of forgot I was wearing it, truth be told. And so it's a very convenient way of keeping my upper body, and I suspect it's having beneficial effects on my lower kind of spine and all that, as it strengthens everything up in general. So I just wear it around the house, put it on in the morning. You can I can sit at my desk working, and you just sort of forget that it's there. So what we'll do is we'll go back home in a bit. I'll get out on my deck and I'll just sort of bring it out and talk to you a little bit more about why I chose the one I chose, some of the other options I have, and perhaps that will be beneficial to you to help you stay kind of a little bit more ready to go when your backpacking season begins, if this is something you've also been thinking about or wondering. Backpacking's great, but I don't want to have to throw on the full weight and just get used to it again. So maybe this will be a good solution for you. All right, we'll head on back. So this is the vest I was showing you on the introduction. It's pretty small. This one is 20 pounds, which, as I mentioned, I think earlier, is about half of my total pack weight. So my total pack weight, literally everything, the bag, sleeping bag, tent, food, water, whatever I may be taking. So on average, about 40 pounds. I chose 20 because it feels like, to me, just a really kind of comfortable weight once I got used to it. Not too much stress on the body, because I like to wear this for hours at a time. You're going to do whatever's relevant and right for you. I would suggest, what I found was starting with a much lighter vest and weight to begin with. Was easier for my body to start to adjust over time rather than just jumping all the way up to 20. Again, whatever's right for you, I'm sure you'll be able to figure that out. What I really like about this is I can wear this very simply when I'm going out and about. So if I want to, I can throw on my jacket in the winter. This sits underneath, it still zips up, it doesn't feel uncomfortable. It's easy to drive in the car without kind of feeling like you're leaning forward because there's too much bulk on the back. I don't think it interferes with my ability to do that. Going grocery shopping, around the stores, it's just very kind of discreet. And after a while, once you've gotten used to it, you sort of forget it's there. And I'm now viewing it as kind of a good maintenance, what's the word I want to use? Maintenance procedure, we'll say. So I wear this consistently. Some days I won't, just, I guess, give my body a rest, or truth be told, I forget to put it on. But by and large, I wear it most of the time. I take it off for little stretches here and there, just let my body take a rest. I have really no idea if this matters or not, but I figure if I'm not wearing it, it perhaps is the time your body can adjust, fix itself. I gather that's how it works with weightlifting, but I am no physical training expert by any stretch as far as any of this is concerned. I'm just figuring it out as I go along. If my body starts to feel uncomfortable, like down here in the small of the back, doesn't really happen anymore. In fact, doing this has helped get rid of a lot of those sorts of aches and pains that I would normally have around my lower back. I am quite tall, 6'6". So having a lot of weight on the upper body when I wasn't built for it put extra strain as well. A lot of what I do is, as I mentioned, it's home office, so I'm typing at a keyboard, sitting down quite a lot. Over the years, I've gotten better at just getting up, walking out, taking the dogs for a quick 10-minute stroll here and there. But by doing this, I'm convinced it's helped strengthen a lot of my back as well, which an added benefit of day-to-day life. Anyway, let me show you some of the other ways I got started that might be of use to you. So first and foremost, this is how I got started. I just grabbed one of my small day packs and I put some weight in it. So initially I used some old weights we had lying around the house. So this is from like what do they call them, a dumbbell thing, or stick them on the pole. Like I said, I don't know what I'm talking about where this is concerned. I think you get the idea. Nevertheless, it was a 5-pound pucker weight. And then I had a couple of, these are the dumbbells. I think one is 3 pounds, one is 5 pounds. And essentially I just chucked them in this bag and walked around with it. Now, those are quite pokey in the back because all of the weight rests, right down in the bottom here. And so from just pure poking in my back, it was quite uncomfortable. That's where I went and got some bags of rice that we had around the house. These are 8 pounds. So I threw 1 or 2 of those in, depending on my mood. I started with just 1 and then went to 2 because they fit very nicely in there. And the added benefit is rice. It doesn't poke you in the back. But you could use, I don't know, tins of coffee, bags of sugar, flour, whatever. Whatever weight you want to use as far as the total load. find things around your house that kind of mimic that and stick it in an old bag. Great way to get started. Now, day to day, wearing that around the house was a little bit more uncomfortable, particularly this when I'm sat at my desk. It kind of forces you to really sit forward when you've got these sorts of bags and things inside it. So that is when I moved to this thing. So this is a lighter version of what I'm wearing right now. So this is a 10-pound weighted vest. Exactly the same thing. I think it's just got like sand or some sort of pellets in them, but it's much more sleek. It doesn't poke out, and it was a good start point from when I was kind of coming off my ultra running kind of physique and trying to build some strength. 10 pounds was more than enough. I felt it. And then ultimately what I'd moved to was this thing, because I always wanted to be in the military. No, I'm joking, but that's kind of what it looks like, like a flak vest or something. The reason I bought it was you can literally take the weight. They're like sandbags, and they come in these pockets, and there's a whole bunch on the front, there's a whole bunch on the back. And so this can go anywhere from 4 pounds to 40. So each of those bags are worth 4 pounds. So I thought I could buy this, and then I wouldn't have to buy anything else. I could just move up the weight scale as I felt appropriate. But again, what I really hadn't thought through when I bought it was the bulkiness of it. It's very big. You could say conspicuous. Not that you should necessarily care what people think, but walking around a grocery store with that on, you kind of stand out, and yeah, whatever. Ultimately, it's also not very comfortable, like I said, when you're sat at a desk or something along those lines, which was an important factor to me. So that ultimately was why I moved to the 20-pound version of the weighted vest. Let me show you that again. So here we go. Very similar to the 10-pound one. Different brand, not that that matters, but this one is 20 pounds, and this is the one I've kind of settled on for quite a while now. I've been wearing it for months. It's just really convenient. Now that my body feels like it's gotten used to it, I know I'm not like gaining any kind of muscle strength, I wouldn't think. I don't really know, but what it will allow me when the backpacking season comes, I think, is when I throw on my 40-pound bag, I'm only getting my body used to an additional 20 pounds. Now, I'm sure biomechanically it's not as straightforward as that, but I think we can all agree that it will be less stressful on my body now that I've kind of built a certain level of musculature and strength at this sort of 20-pound weight. That can only be beneficial when I get a 40 rather than going from 0 to 40. But again, I'm not a physical trainer. Don't take any kind of medical advice in that regard from me. Do your own research. But I think that would be beneficial. So kind of wrapping this all up, I hope that was of use to you. It was certainly of use to me and continues to be so. Nice thing about any of these methods is if you're just starting with your basic backpack that you already have, or you're doing like a smaller little day pack and just throw in some weights that you got around the house or bags of rice or whatever, it doesn't cost you anything extra. It just allows you to kind of get going. If you want to kind of change it up a bit and make it a bit more useful day to day, like I found with those weighted vests, they're pretty inexpensive from my perspective. You can get them online pretty consistently, kind of $50 Canadian and down where I am. Whether that's a good deal from your point of view, that's up to you to decide. I found that $30-40 investment was certainly worth it from my point of view, and has long-term benefits beyond just the goal of not having to put 0 to 40 on my back. I've realized I can kind of see it. The kind of change in my physique in the upper body has definitely changed a little bit. I'm not a bodybuilder, let's not get carried away, but I know that's beneficial to me long-term in a whole bunch of ways beyond backpacking, just general wellness and health. It's a good thing. So good luck in your backpacking adventures if you're choosing to do it. Perhaps you're getting started, you've never done it before. Please don't stress about it. You don't need to overthink any of this. There's lots of guides and stuff online that can help you, but though it's interesting, I wouldn't get too stressed out about base weight this and ultralight that and super heavy the other. Just start do what you can with what you have, or a small investment of time and money to kind of get you going, and you'll have a lot of fun, I'm sure of it. All the best on your adventures. Take care.